Afternoon, everyone. I, Nola Fatsoletlhare, welcome you to our podcast, Thriving with ADHD. Today, we are focusing on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects attention, impulse control, and other factors. And it is commonly known as ADHD. This may be too close to home for some of us because it affects many learners in schools around the world. But it is important for us as educators, parents, and community members to understand it better. Our discussion will explore what ADHD is, how it may appear in different school contexts, and most importantly, how teachers, which are our pillars of the community, can support learners with ADHD in inclusive as well as practical ways. By the end of this episode, we as members of Thriving with ADHD hope that you will feel more confident about recognizing ADHD related challenges and applying strategies that help learners thrive.
ADHD is a condition that affects how the brain works and develops. Learners with ADHD may find it hard to pay attention, control impulses, stay calm, and stay organized, and manage their behavior in the classroom. They may become distracted easily, forget instructions, lose materials, or struggle to remain seated and focused for long periods. These challenges can affect learning, classroom participation, and relationships at school, especially when the learner is misunderstood. However, ADHD does not mean a learner cannot succeed. With patience, understanding, and the right support, a learner with ADHD can do well academically, socially, and emotionally in the school environment.
Okay, guys, the way I see it is that it is important for teachers to understand that every student's brain works differently. This idea, known as neurodiversity, reminds us that learners don't think, study, or act the same way. Instead of viewing ADHD as just a problem, teachers should recognize that these students are often very creative, energetic, curious, and great at solving problems or even complex problems at that.
Yes. Yeah. I do agree.
Yabo.
Yes.
Being an inclusive teacher means respecting these differences and supporting students in a way that makes them feel welcome. Right, guys? Yes, do you agree?
So we'll be heading to understanding ADHD in school context. So I believe that in a classroom of learners, ADHD may appear in different ways. Because some learners really struggle to stay focused, to following long instructions, and also to finish their task on time. You understand?
Yes.
So then we have those learners who they move around very often. They don't pay attention to the teacher and they don't answer the question that way assigned to them. So I think it is also significant for us as teachers to remember that not all learners with ADHD behave the same way. So what I mean is that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is known as ADHD, in school is not all about laziness or bad behavior, but it is the neurodevelopmental difference that affect how the brain manages attention. ADHD does not affect intelligence, but it hits executive brain function. And by understanding ADHD, you do not have to shame or public reprimand the learner.
Okay, Zanele, I do have to ask, why do you think so? Why do you think we do not have to reprimand the learners in the classroom?
I believe that it is because it makes the condition worse for the learner. And ADHD is not a choice, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with what Sanele was saying. That's because I think learners with ADHD, the way they learn in class depends on how they behave.
What do you mean, Sandy?
I think, let me put it on an perspective, right? Let me try to explain it. Okay, we all know that learners with ADHD, they show different types of symptoms. There are many symptoms, right? But the most dominant ones that we know about are the being hyperactive, being talkative in class, right? For an example, a learner that maybe talks a lot with maybe their peers or their friends, or try to start a conversation with their friends. While the teacher is teaching, they might miss some of the knowledge, right? And this does not only disturb the teacher from teaching and other learners from learning, but it also hinders those learners with ADHD, from understanding the key concepts that the teacher is explaining at that exact moment, right? And as a result, they might fail to do their homeworks or classworks because they lack the knowledge that the teacher was teaching during that time, right? So for us as teachers, we need to acknowledge these things and try to help learners regulate these behaviors, so that when they do these behaviors, we can find strategies in how to regulate these movements, right? And also, I found out that learners with ADHD, they also lack time management, which means they can't tell that, okay, now it's the time to do this and the time for doing this has ended, right? And also, for us as teachers, seeing a learner in our class with ADHD doing these behaviors can seem like they are being disrespectful to us, because their behaviors might be harder to tolerate, right? We might say some harmful words to them and lower their self-esteem because we think they are being disrespectful to us.
I will also add on what Sandile and Sanele have said.
Okay.
ADHD can also affect how learners behave during playtime, sports, and group activities at school. On the playground, some learners may rush into games without waiting for instruction, interrupt others during conversation, or struggle to take their turns fairly. They may become frustrated quickly if they lose a game or if rules change unexpectedly.
Okay, can you give us an example or explain more on what you just said?
Okay. For example, a learner with ADHD might shout answers during team game before others have a chance to participate, or run ahead during maybe races without listening to teachers' instructions.
Okay.
And then moreover, in sports, many learners with ADHD are energetic and enjoy being active. They may show great creativity, excitement in physical activities. However, they can sometimes find it difficult to stay focused on roles, remain patient during practice, or work consistently as part of a team. For instance, a learner may forget the rules of a soccer drill, leave their positions during a match, or become distracted by other activities happening nearby. On the other hand, physical activity can have positive effects on learners with ADHD. Exercise and movement can help improve concentration, reduce stress, and allow learners to feel calmer and more focused in class afterward. Teachers can support these learners by giving clear instructions, using short demonstrations, and encouraging positive teamwork during activities.
Teachers can play an important role in helping learners with ADHD. Their support should be simple, respectful, consistent, and suited for the learner's needs. Small changes in the classroom can make a big difference to attention, confidence, behavior, and participation. When teachers understand ADHD and respond with patience rather than punishment, learners are more likely to feel safe, included, and ready to learn. We will look now at the 10 practical strategies that teachers can use at school to support learners with ADHD in an inclusive and effective way. The first one being that teachers should give a clear and short instructions. meaning that teachers should break down work into smaller steps so that learners can understand, because they do find it harder to understand when the teacher is teaching very fast and does long instructions. The second one will be to use routines. Well, a daily structure can help learners to know what to expect the next day, because children with ADHD really like things that are done in the same way or in routines. And then the third one will be for the learners to be set carefully in the class. The teacher should place them in a spot whereby there are no distractions at all, meaning that the learner will not have many things that are distracting them while they are learning. Preferably, they should sit in the front where the teacher can see them at all times. And then the fourth one should be that the teacher should allow movement breaks. Movement breaks or short breaks can help learners reset and focus again, which meaning that they do not have to focus for a very long time as they will be having breaks. The fifth one would be using visual supports, which may be timetables, checklists, and written instructions that can help memory and organization. Number 6 can be giving extra time when needed. Some learners need more time to process and complete work, especially learners with ADHD, because they like procrastinating. So when we give them extra time when needed, they can complete their work. And then number 7 would be using positive reinforcement. We should praise the effort that learners put in, especially learners with ADHD. We should praise their effort as well as progress, and with appropriate behavior. When learners do well in class, we should praise their effort instead of trying to tell them that they are not doing enough. It's the little that they do that helps. And then number 8 will be to teach with organizational skills. We can help learners manage their books, homeworks, and deadlines. And then the ninth one will be adjusting tasks when necessary. We should differentiate activities without lowering expectations. And then the last one will be working with families and support staff to help learners. Consistent support across settings is important for learners with ADHD.
There was this other time, guys, I was doing a research. I think it was on Google or Wikipedia. I found that certain practical steps can really help students stay focused and organized. For instance, giving students extra help with their schoolwork, teaching them how to manage their own time, and showing them how to stay organized can lead to much better grades or an increase in their performance at school, as long as these methods are used regularly and thoughtfully. We found that classroom work best when teachers change their teaching styles to fit different needs and use positive encouragement rather than just discipline. Like I can safely say a teacher can apply different teaching methods, or can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Flexible when teaching other students. You see, when dealing with an ADHD student, a learner with ADHD,
Yes.
he can maybe apply a teaching strategy which includes visual aids such as for pictures or slides or anything that can
Help.
perfectly suit that particular learner.
Yes.
That's all I can say, guys.
Okay.
I believe that teachers are not the only people to support learners with ADHD, right? Stakeholders is a broad. There are stakeholders which might support the learner or the learner with ADHD. So I think that stakeholders is a broad name. It includes class teachers, parent or caregivers, school-based support team, psychologists, and health professionals.
Yes.
Each of these stakeholders have their roles in identifying the needs, monitoring the progress, and helping the learner feel included.
If I may ask, how will these learners feel included?
Okay, for example, I might make an example. Accommodation assessment. As a teacher, you must give a learner extra time and breaks during the test, because I best believe that as a teacher, you need to focus on assessing the knowledge of a learner, not processing the speed or handwriting of a learner.
Yes.
I do get your point, Sanele. I do agree with what you are saying. But even the collaboration of ideas between the teacher and the parent or a guardian is very important. For an example, a parent or a guardian can tell the teacher what to expect from the learner and give them tips on how to assist the learner living with ADHD, on how to manage their behaviors when they get a little bit out of hand and cannot regulate their movements on their own. For an example, let us say maybe there's a learner in a class called Busiswa. Busiswa maybe but has ADHD, right? And her parents know how she acts and how they help her in managing or regulating her movements, right? Yes. So Busiswa's mother can tell the teacher on how Busiswa likes maybe playing drums, and so she might hit the desk and pretend as if she's playing drums, making noise. Even if when the teacher tells Busiswa to stop the movement, she might stop but continue after some time, not because she's being disrespectful, but because she can't help it. And so they can give her maybe a hand-on task or a stress ball that will not shift the whole focus away from the teacher, but regulate the movement, the unwanted movement. And also, the school-based supporting teams can lend a helping hand when needed, so that the teacher can teach effectively in a class. That's what I think can help the students.
Okay, my good people, I believe that now is the time to reflect on everything that has been said. It has been said previously that teachers face challenges such as scarce resources, as an example. The following are summarized solutions from previous speakers to problems such as the one above, and they need to be implemented by schools. In case of any situation that needs special training, schools should provide teacher training so that educators understand ADH fully. Yes. Schools should encourage teamwork as well as collaboration so that educators do not feel isolated in managing challenges. And this enables them to work out their solutions to not even handling as such, managing learners with ADHD effectively so. We all know that everything is better when done together. Schools should offer practical classroom resources as well as guidance from support professionals who may be able to help the educators with managing learners' behaviors but not trying to suppress them in any form or way. The last thing that I believe that schools should do is to ensure that educators receive emotional support as well as realistic expectations, hence recognizing that inclusive education is a shared responsibility and not something that can be handled by one educator. We all know that one can't give their strength to one person, whereas they already do not have any strength. So the teachers need to be emotionally fit to support learners.
Many teachers work with large classes, making it difficult to give individual attention to learners who may need extra guidance and support. Some educators may not receive enough training on ADHD, which can make it harder to understand the learner's behavior and respond. Teachers may also struggle with limited school resources, such as lacking learning supporting staff, counselors, and specialized teaching materials. For example, a teacher managing more than 40 learners in one classroom may find it difficult to help a learner who frequently loses focus and interrupts lessons. Another challenge in classroom management: learners with ADHD may sometimes move around frequently, call out answers without raising their hands, become distracted during lessons. This can interrupt teaching and increase stress for educators, especially when they are trying to balance the need of all learners in the class. Despite the challenges, teachers can make a positive difference by creating supportive and inclusive classrooms. They can provide simple strategies such as breaking tasks into smaller steps, using visual aids, giving regular encouragement, allowing movement breaks, and maintaining clear classrooms routines can help learners with ADHD participate successfully. Working together with parents, school counselors, support staff can also help educators better support these learners academically, social, and emotionally.
In conclusion, ADHD is a condition that can affect attention, behavior, learning, participation, and relationships at school. These challenges may appear in different ways for different learners, which is why teachers need to respond with understanding and flexibility rather than judgment. When educators understand ADHD and use inclusive support strategies, they can reduce barriers to learning and help learners feel more confident and capable. With the right support, learners with ADHD can participate meaningfully, build positive relationships, and do well in school environment.
Okay, guys, I can safely say we have discussed how ADHD may appear in the classroom, playground, and sport settings, as well as the importance of collaborations or teamwork, practical support, and in inclusive education. As future educators, we should create classrooms where all learners feel respected, supported, and able to participate fully.
A wise lady called Rita Pearson once said, and I quote, "Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connections, and insists they become the best they can possibly be." With that said, it's a wrap from us. Thank you very much for listening to our podcast.